welcome back to the Woo Factor. I am your host, Suzy Woo, and we have been featuring the amazing people that are going to be in the Metaphysical, Holistical, and Mystical Expo in the middle of August in Erie, PA, and today's no exception. And so today you are going to meet a wonderful, fine astrologer, and we are going to talk astrology, which is one of my favorite topics. And we will keep it simplistic so that you'll be able to follow along. So please allow me to introduce to you Olga Rozzell, astrologer. Let me bring on Olga. Hello, Miss Olga. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Always excited to talk to fellow astrologers.
And I'm really excited and looking forward to the Expo. It's a wonderful event and really amazing people participating.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be good. I'm super excited for that.
Yes.
Can you tell us first, because there's lots of branches of astrology, and what is your favorite? Where do you sit?
Well, I think I sit in what they call postmodern astrology. I was trained as a modern astrologer. I went to International Academy of Astrology, and they had pretty modern astrology program. But then they started introducing traditional astrology as we started learning more and more as all the translations became available of ancient books. So they started introducing more and more traditional astrology, and I kind of got more and more in traditional astrology. But I think astrology is a living being. It develops. So you cannot just discard everything that developed in the last century or last 2 centuries. So you have to kind of synthesize and combine things, and that's a postmodern astrology. I use traditional techniques. I use contemporary techniques.
Do you specialize in personal level versus mundane? Do you do both?
Yes, I try not to do mundane. I guess I can, but it's not really my passion. I really focus on the astrology of health and wellness because I have been in biomedical research for more than 40 years. So I know a lot about the body and cell biology and molecular biology. And I'm also certified coach, health and wellness coach. So it's just natural interest for me to look at the health and wellness. But I offer a variety of services. You name it, I probably do it. But that's my passion. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's wonderful. And so, were you into the medical field before astrology, or did you do both at the same time? Were you running parallel?
No, I was in biomedical research for 40 years. And I didn't come to astrology early in life. I grew up in USSR. We didn't really have any metaphysical literature. It wasn't available. Somehow sign horoscopes did make in. And yeah, so I knew about sun sign astrology, but not beyond that. So I really started studying astrology later in life, because I was busy for a very long time. Huh?
What called you to study astrology?
I think it was a natural progression, and just as usual, universe offers you things. I had a family, I had a career, I had a full-time job, so I was always very busy. And then at some point I found myself alone because my children were grown and gone. My mom, who I took care of for the last years of her life, she died, and I was just alone with a lot of time. So I started going to different groups, and I came to an astrology group because I was interested, and it just stuck with me, and here I am.
That's wonderful. I love all the different petals to your flower that are your offerings. Just out of curiosity, do you do anything to do with herbs and herbology too?
I wish. I usually, well, not really. I know a little bit because that's something I studied back in college. I'm a pharmacist by education, and back in Russia, medical professionals used herbs as well. So we had a big course on the medical herbs and botany and all the stuff. So I know a little bit, but I really don't recommend anything to my clients.
Okay. And so people who, when they're going through certain life changes, or,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is actually, I'm
Yeah.
phrasing it as a question, a crisis, but I'm more kind of looking at health challenges. Is that pretty much who your clientele are, or are they like all over the board?
Well, I think most astrologers see people when they're in crisis. I don't know about evolutionary astrologers because they may see those people who are all healthy and happy and just want to know about the evolution of their soul. That's probably the only astrologers who see people when they are not in crisis. Usually people come to you when they are in crisis. Yes, absolutely. So when people see some symptoms, or they start feeling unhealthy, and or they have some problems in their life, then they come to an astrologer. So that's average client. Yes.
What is your sign? What are your big three?
Okay. I have Sun and Moon in Aquarius. It's a balsamic moon, only 3.5, 4 degrees behind the Sun. And I have Scorpio ascendant.
Wow. Wow, yeah, so that's deep and penetrating, and then this I don't need to be emotionally involved, which is great.
It's not like you don't need to be emotionally involved, but you really process all your emotions through your brain, like intellectually. Sometimes before I can feel something, I need to think about it and imagine how should I feel? How should I feel? How should I emotionally respond to that? And then you can reach down and find that emotion. So it's,
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, really kind of what I feel with Aquarius energy is, as far as like empathy goes, like you're able to leave your clients at work and then go on with your life, where like Pisces and water signs, they can't seem to form the boundary in between the client and themselves, and they take their patients or their clients' troubles home with them.
Yes,
It's a big
It's a
difference.
great ability to detach with Aquarius. We detach. Can detach.
Yeah, wow. That's also like a pretty crispy sense of humor. A dry sense of humor that everyone doesn't exactly understand.
I agree. Yes, I got in trouble with my sense of humor a lot.
What's your favorite part about what you do?
Well, I like to talk to people. I really like to understand how they relate to their chart, how they express their chart. Because when you talk to people, you even hear they're talking their chart. They're using the words that you will find in their charts, words that are attributed to the signs where their planets are. It's really interesting. And I really like to see these correlations. Of course, it's just, astrology gives us such a deep understanding of how the universe is connected to what's going on here on Earth in our personal life, as above, as below. It's just really gives you this frame of understanding of the universe and our role in the universe, our place in the universe. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful language that can be expressed like through all of these nuances. It's very nuanced and very exciting and full of flavor. You can never stop learning, really.
No, and when you learn astrology, you can't really turn back and stop seeing all these connections and all these expressions of astrology in everyday life around you, in the nature, in your own life, in your own body. It really changes your whole understanding of the universe and life. It's pretty amazing.
Do you use astrology when you are planning events and medical appointments and things like that?
Absolutely. Every time. Yes. Once I waited for a surgery that I had to do for 2 years just because there was no good day for my surgery. So I waited for 2 years. But it wasn't anything urgent, of course. I planned everything since I started learning astrology. I do plan my medical visits. I do plan sending important letters. I do plan buying lottery. Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because nobody is perfect. So I guess I'm still learning.
Aren't we all, right?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on the Barbault's basket?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think some astrologers now in social media really overdo it,
Hmm.
constantly talking about it and expecting something like really big to happen. Others completely neglect it or deny it or criticize it. I think we need to listen to him because he did predict a couple of things very correctly. He did predict the fall of USSR. Not like it wasn't fated. It should have happened at some point, but I believe he predicted the timing. And he also predicted the pandemic in 2020. Unfortunately, he died just before that, and he didn't really see his predictions come true. But I think we should listen to these predictions. I think these predictions are amazing. I hope it will all happen. He predicts a whole new world that is more fair and better.
Hmm.
So hopefully that's where we are going.
So with all these sextiles and trines between the outer
Yeah.
planets, like what is
Yes.
your personal feel like on how the world is gonna like your from your perspective now? Like how do you feel it's impacting your client, like on an individual level, and then if you want to go there, like on a more large scale?
Sure. Sure. I think we have a great support now for getting a better understanding of the world. I think people start understanding better what's going on. Many secrets came to the surface, and well, we all are anticipating more releases about UFOs, or what are they called? UP something.
Yeah, something
UFO.
like that. I still say
Yeah.
UFO.
Yes,
Yes,
UFOs.
I remember.
And in general, I think people are turning more to metaphysics because it's just the way we were stuck. We are in the cul-de-sac with the materialistic views. Even in science, I'm a scientist. I have been a scientist for more than 40 years. Even in science, certain disciplines came to the point when they have to dive into metaphysics, like neurosciences. You have to admit at some point that we are connecting to something with our brains, that it's not all chemistry in our brains. They're not going to go much farther without admitting that. Physics, they're coming to understanding that there is ether or quintessence or whatever in the universe, in the space, in the vacuum. So many disciplines came to this point where people will have to turn to metaphysics. I hope that's what's going to be happening because of the all planets involved, Neptune, which is all about spirituality, about broadening your horizons and transcending your horizons. Well, Uranus, which brings everything unusual, everything new, all the discoveries, right? And Pluto, who dives really deep and digs the truth out. So hopefully that's what is happening, because that would be a really big change in the world. That would
And
be a new world.
plutocracy, the
Yes,
elites, the
yes.
whole celebrity status, the whole
Hmm.
celebrity culture. Do you think that's
Yeah.
gonna kind of dissolve, flip
I think
upside
it
down?
already has. I think it already has. Who cares? Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what they do. Nobody cares what they wear. Nobody wants to follow them in what they do. I think it's already happening. It's, social media and internet gave us access to all the information, and people are taking this information in. And
Hmm.
it's, even if somebody doesn't take it in personally, just collectively doing it affects everyone.
Hmm. Hmm. How
Yeah.
do you feel about, or what's your take on the Chiron in Taurus? I kind of was thinking like
Hmm.
about learning how to accept our physical body and our worthiness and, being able to ask for a raise because we feel
Yeah.
more worthy, those kinds of things. What's your take on? I know it is going to retrograde back into Aries, but how do you interpret that?
Well, I think it's a good position for Chiron because it's a sign where we can really address our values, our value, our self-esteem. And Chiron is kind of tricky though, because Chiron is non-healing wounds. So it's kind of old wounds will come out with the body, with our self-esteem, with our values. But at the same time, it's a good time to heal all these wounds. So people really should look into it and try to find some way to get some healing, some recovery.
Yeah, so now I'm just visually seeing, so I guess I need to ask about your opinion with the, so just the three of those, that would be a T-square with Pluto and Aquarius. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Pluto and Aquarius and Chiron and Taurus. And
Yeah.
for right now, at least, the sun's in Leo,
Yes.
Jupiter's in Leo.
Yes.
So this
They're
is something really
completely
important because I'm
disrupted.
getting the
Yeah.
goosebumps about it. So, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of feelings about that, and
Oh,
especially, I think where I'd like to start is your take on the fixed sign dominant people. How do you, and
yeah.
especially because Uranus just came out of Taurus, so I think
Yeah.
Taurus is getting a breather there. But now it's just now Chiron is there. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that
Well,
configuration?
how do I feel about it? I have a lot of feelings about it because Pluto is right now dancing around my moon. My moon is 3 and something Aquarius, so Pluto is right there. So I have a lot of feelings about all that happening. Yeah, so people with fixed signs placements obviously are affected the most. And they not only they're affected the most, but these are the aspects, squares and oppositions that actually bring some action. People with fixed placements will have to do something about it. Also, I wanted to mention that Taurus is associated with the throat and with the voice. So very often singers have a lot of Taurus. So it's voice. It's also finding your voice. If you had to be silent about something, if you had to not speak up now with Chiron in Taurus, people may find their voice. People may start talking. People may start expressing themselves. It's a wonderful sky right now. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, yeah. The things that we've been through just in the past year and a half are undocumented because they haven't happened in those configurations. And now,
Yeah,
we've got the exactitude of the 4 degrees, which
yeah,
they're referring to the basket there.
yeah,
But like this is just huge. All the outer planets changing signs, and so now we are into the next several
yeah.
Saturn Jupiter conjunctions in fire and air moving forward.
Hmm.
All of the times except for 2, my understanding. And where do you see things going as far as like the way people live? I'm curious if you're thinking like Pluto and Aquarius. Do you see that as more community living, like community lifestyle, like tribal, how things used to be, like the village raises the child, that kind of thing? How do you
Well,
interpret
I
that?
think it more as power to the people because Pluto is all about power. So it's the time when people will take power into their hands, whatever that means. And that means different things to different people. So everybody has their own understanding how it's going to happen. But people will have more power. We may have more power to deal with politics, with politicians, with any aspect of our life, and we already do. We already are much more informed if we want to be informed. We already are equipped with very powerful sources of information if we want to dig into it. So I see it more as getting more power as a community, as people, as the whole population of the world, because that's what Aquarius is about.
Thank you. Now, there's also the technology spin on
Yeah.
that. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I kind of feel there's going to be in other platforms that give internet service. I kind of
Hmm.
feel like that. Like, I feel like there's this elite internet that the peons don't have access to. I kind of think that's going to separate. It's just intuitively how I feel.
Okay.
I'm curious what your spin on is as far like, do you think we are going to have more like the Jetsons where we are all having our flying vehicles and I guess they're just testing Amazon deliveries now, but what do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Well, I think definitely there will be a massive development of technologies because both Pluto and Uranus are in air signs, and Gemini and Aquarius are all about changes and progress and transportation and communication and in media and everywhere. And I think in general, the pace of life will be increasing, at least for the next couple of years, because all the planets are in masculine signs, and we'll have very few planets, very little energy in feminine signs that are more reflective and like slower and more thoughtful. So everything will intensify, everything will get faster, and there will be constant changes. We have to adjust to these changes. And also, I think it's about developing the language, because we all will have to talk to AI. We already do it. I don't know if you do it. I do it all the time. And you just understand how important it is to have the right idea and formulate the idea and put it in the right words so that AI does the right thing and understands what you are asking. So I think just developing ideas and developing specific language and developing very precise language, that's what everybody should be focusing now, because that's will be like in front position for anything you are doing. I think
Yeah,
that is really important.
very nice, very nice. For some reason, I'm getting something about Uranus right now. This is completely out of this dialogue or context. It feels like something's
Okay.
coming in that's adjusting things with the throat. So I think this is robotics and that it
Mhm.
has to do with surgeries and such. Now, we already have robots that perform surgeries. I'm not exactly sure
Cool.
where that's going, but did you have something to add or something on your mind that speaks to medical procedure? Oh, maybe even med beds or technology as it pertains to people's health and extending life?
Well, there are many technological innovations going on. For example, the Neuralink actually connects your brain to technology for people who lost their functions.
Right, like stroke victims, for
Yeah,
example?
stroke victims and probably also traumatic brain injury or whatever brain injury. So that's one of the developments. I think with Uranus, just note that when Uranus was in Taurus, we got a lot of development of medications for metabolic diseases, because Taurus regulates metabolism. Taurus rules the thyroid, and thyroid regulates all the metabolism in our body. So that's where the technology progressed a lot. We got all the GLP medications and all that. So it was like a big development. We also got artificial meat, artificial beef, and that's just
That's
so
what I was going
literal.
to ask you about that next. Yeah.
Astrology is so literal. So now when it's in Gemini, I think it will be a lot to do with the ability to speak, probably some new technology that allows people who cannot speak, read, communicate. And also, of course, Gemini rules lungs. So it's also about lung diseases, probably COPD, or I don't know, lung cancer, which is the first killer in the world, or at least in
Or popcorn lung because
Yep.
vaping is so popular.
Yes, that can also change. That can also change with Uranus there, and yeah, and also Gemini is about transmitting information. So also some hormonal medications, probably cure of hormonal diseases, probably better help for women going through menopause or other hormonal imbalance. So that's what I think will be happening.
Wonderful. Good. Okay, medical. So that we've got medical things that are definitely
Mhm.
continuing to change. I know where we're going next. Is medical and education. So systems, the systems of our, well, for right now, the United States,
Yeah.
because that's where we live, and the systems that are in place were great when they were new. And now that the United States is 250 years old, we've already had the Pluto return in the throes of that still. And boy, oh boy, is the United States chart getting hit, especially now. This will be published after the full moon that's coming up next week. But I did a chart for that for the United States. It's a humdinger, and even for the
Yeah.
president. Did you happen to take a look at that?
Well, I didn't look at it myself, but I did hear things. So we are not through yet because Uranus is still will hit our natal Uranus, I believe, right? It's not there yet. So
Yeah.
there is still a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch
Yeah.
going
So
on.
we
It's
are not
also
through yet. Yeah.
a Mars return to the degree.
Hmm.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff is lined up with the United States charts for that. Anyways, the systems. So the systems, the education system
Yeah.
and the medical system. Now, I feel since 2020, all the lockdowns, everybody knows what happened there, and now that we're in this opening square, we're starting to have more air. Things are airing. Where the awareness is increasing
Yeah.
about the way things were run, and we have the ability to have broader selection. Like, here's information, you can decide if you
Mhm.
agree with this, if you accept
Yeah.
this or
Yeah.
not. But because my understanding is all of these younger people that are born with a lot of the Aquarius energy
Hmm.
are considered to be on the spectrum, or they have ADD and ADHD and all this other stuff, which you cannot broad stroke a whole generation. That just isn't correct. But our schools in their current state are failing them miserably. And then the pandemic, when everything shut down and everybody got a Chromebook to do schoolwork from home.
Yeah.
But then there's a suffering to that, because now you're losing the one-on-one human interaction. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious where you're thinking education is going to go in our foreseeable future.
Um, well, I didn't really think on education, but with Aquarius, I think it's again more power to the people. I think it probably will be more individualized, just like medicine. Because medicine is already going into these directions. Some medications are created for a specific person because we can now sequence the whole genome. And if mutation is found, you can design the medication that is good just for this particular person with their particular mutations. So it's already happening in medicine. I believe that probably the same will happen with education. People will get more individualized education, individualized programs. Probably you know how some universities offer you to create your own major. Have you heard of that?
I have
Yeah.
not.
My younger daughter went to NYU and she didn't do that, but her friend did that. They had this program where you just create your own major. Like you can major in anything and you just create it, you write the program and you get it approved and then you take classes that you believe will feed into your vision of your future profession. So I think
About
maybe
time.
something, yeah. So I think maybe something like that will be happening. And that is happening in a way because we have a variety of schools. We have a lot of charter schools, different charter schools, right? I have three grandkids and they all went to charter schools, very specialized. One was very traditional, studying Odyssey in the first grade and all that stuff and mythology. And the other one was completely insane, like they didn't have a classroom, they didn't have anything. It was interesting. But yeah, I think it will be something like that. I think there will be just more variety and people will be able to choose what to do with their children and where to send them, because nobody knows children as well as parents do. So if parents care, if parents pay attention, they know what will benefit the child the most.
Way awesome. Okay, so now I'd like to kind of shift gears to individual people. So we have in astrology, we call it the big three, and one is the rising sign. One is our sun sign, which everybody knows, and I call that your daytime behavior, who you're hardwired to be. And then the moon sign is your nighttime behavior, who you are when no one's looking, or your emotional temperament. Now, what happens when those three items clash? For example, mine are a T-square. So my rising is 16 Scorpio. My sun is 19 Taurus in the 7th. And then my sun is 22 Leo on my Regulus midheaven. So they don't get along because they're, they're in a T-square. How do you interpret something like that?
Well, it's not like they don't get a long period, because they all are in fixed signs, so they have something in common. They get something something is in common, so they can communicate. Squares are not all bad, and neither are oppositions, because oppositions is also, seeing both sides, adjusting to both sides, trying to find some compromise between two sides. But yeah, it's more struggle with yourself, struggle with your life, struggle with what you do and how you do it, than for the person who has everything in the same sign or in more compatible signs. But I think squares and the positions are really productive aspects. So good for you. Good for you, because you are constantly growing, you're constantly changing, you're constantly making decisions for yourself and for your life. You are constantly confronted with important decisions. You have to act on your decisions. So I don't think it's bad. I think you're in a good position.
Well, that sure softened it quite a bit, because there are kind of blanket statements that astrologers tend to use. And I think a lot of my clients, they have been scared by another reader, like, there's nothing in your 5th house, you're barren. Somebody who really wants to have children, things like this. I think untrained people do a lot of damage to innocent other people, or having Saturn in the 5th house and being told that they'll never have children.
Sure. It's a thin line, because when you are talking to the client, you want to be honest, especially if you got a specific question and you know the answer to this question, but you cannot completely mislead your client to say, oh, everything will be fine, you have no problems. So it's a really thin line what you want to do, but you don't want to give it in a way that would completely upset and scare the person, especially when it comes to medical questions. It's very scary. Health is very scary. Disease is very scary. But at the same time, you can give it in a way that helps people. For example, if something is wrong with the 5th house and not having planets there, nothing is wrong. I don't have planets. I have 2 children. It's nothing is wrong with having an empty house. So you can give it in a different form. You can say, well, you may have some difficulties conceiving or having children, but right now we have so many different options. We have IVF. We have surrogacy, we have many options that haven't been available to women 50 years ago or even 25 years ago. So you may just work a little harder on getting pregnant, or you may use some unconventional ways of getting pregnant. So there is always, so same, let's say, with cancer, right? Yeah, somebody has cancer. It was a death sentence 50 years ago. But now it's not. Now we all had cancer and we all survived. So, it's always something that can make this information more positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
agree so much. I really think people
mhm.
should get proper training instead of a couple of books and then say, hey,
Sure.
I'm doing readings now, especially like there's a code of ethics that needs to be followed. Like, some
Yeah, yeah, and
things that you
many
should never.
organizations do require that. I am ESR certified, so I had to go through the ethics course, and I probably had ethics questions on the exam, but I don't remember. So it has been addressed, but yeah. And of course, there are situations when you want to be completely honest. If somebody who is terminally ill and knows about it and needs to know how to plan their time, their estate, or whatever comes to you and asks of potential dates of going, and they have the right attitude about death. Probably as an honest astrologer, you just have to talk to them about it.
Yeah, right.
But if
I
you
totally
accidentally,
agree.
sometimes we see more than people ask in the chart, and not necessarily we have to give them all the information. Sometimes you see that the person will have problems with the parents, that parents may pass, but it doesn't mean that you want to release that information. Just keep it to yourself. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
necessary.
because that actually did happen to me years
To me
ago.
too, many times. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, "Is your
Yeah.
father okay?" Why? Like, why would you ask such a thing? So you do have to exercise self-discipline and
Well,
courtesy and
I think
respect,
it's also emotional intelligence and just skills, plain skills of
discernment too.
consulting, counseling, whatever. Because you can give this information in a different way. You can say, well, I see that the next year, probably around the summer, you will have to spend more energy on dealing with your parents' problems, dealing with your spending time with your parents or whatever. Because honestly, as astrologer, you can never be sure that the event will happen as you see it.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
the world is different, the world is changing, the things are changing, the medicine is changing. So you can see these energies, but you really don't want to condition people to one outcome, and negative outcome especially.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so let's move now to, because you're going to be doing a presentation, and I'm pretty
Yes.
sure it's on the elements.
Yes, it's on the elements in the chart and the elemental composition of the chart and your health and wellness. So I wanted to talk about something that is easy to use, some technique that anyone can just, create a chart, and even without having any advanced knowledge of astrology, you can make some conclusions and some modifications, some remediation. And elemental composition of the chart is one of these very simple and very easy techniques.
Are you able to give us a couple of examples that we might be able to relate
Absolutely.
to?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I will be able to give some recommendations for having excessive energy of an element or not having enough of the element in the chart. And I'll be able to show you a couple of charts of regular people, clients, and celebrities as well.
Okay, so let me throw out mine because I fall into that category, and I just want our viewers to understand how it can relate to them with this workshop, this presentation that you're doing.
Yeah.
So I have 5 planets in Virgo,
Okay.
personal planets, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've got Mercury at 1 Virgo. I've got Mercury. I've got Venus, Jupiter, Pluto, and then Uranus.
Okay.
All in the 10th house. So 5 planets in Virgo. I've got a
Mhm.
28 Leo midheaven. So that's a whole bunch of, well, you know what it looked like in my life? Indecision. So I was in a horribly abusive marriage for 22 years. And once I got out, I was so traumatized,
Mhm.
complex PTSD, is once I had my own house, I had nothing on the walls. Nothing. because I was afraid to put a hole in there. I was afraid my kids wouldn't like when I hang. So there was just nothing there. Horrible. Now I'm way on the other side of that now. But coming back to the workshop. So when somebody has too much of an element, and then I also have no air in my chart. I have 0 planets in
Mm-hmm.
air. And so what would you say if that were an example?
Well, if that were an example, and especially you described some like circumstances of your life, I would say that as well, first of all, having several planets in the same sign in the same house, it's a huge chunk of energy in your chart. So it really affects you, even though you don't have your luminaries there, or you don't have your
My sun
luminaries.
is in the ninth and my moon's in the
Yeah.
seventh.
You don't have luminaries in Virgo, you don't have your ascendant in Virgo, but still having this so much energy in your chart, all focused in one sign, that's a huge influence. So that will influence everything in your life. And I think as Virgo, you're just over analyzing, you're just overthinking, you're just, that's why you cannot come to the conclusion. It's just too much overthinking, too much over analyzing. So that's probably why it was difficult for you to make any decisions, even at the very mundane level, what to hang on the wall. So no air, that can go 2 ways. Sometimes people intuitively know that they need to add this element into their lives. For example, I had a student who had no air in his chart, and he said, well, you have to see my house. I'm dying under books. Like books are everywhere. So people intuitively bring this energy of air into their lives. I also knew a man who didn't have earth, and he was not astrologer. He didn't know anything about any elements. He was carrying rocks in his pockets always. I don't know why. He just felt that he needed this energy. So that's one way. That's the best way. I don't know if that's your way. Getting books,
I have a
getting
lot of books. Yeah, a
fans,
real lot of books.
fans around your house. I don't know, going outside, loving birds, loving butterflies, watching birds. So
Yes, I'm
you
big on
intuitively
birds. Yeah.
So you intuitively may introduce this energy. And if you don't, then I would recommend to do that. I would recommend to, in any way, I would recommend to introduce this energy into your life. Like having skies as your screen saver, or just being under the open skies. Fly, see things flying. All these things. Like for me, for example, I have very little water. I have only one planet, and it's Neptune, and it's in 12th house. So it's very little water that I can't really access easily. For me, it's very, very healing to be around water. So I swim for exercise. I have fish tank. I have fountains. And if I go on vacation, I go to the ocean, because being in the mountains doesn't do anything for me. I need to be next to the water. If I feel bad, I go, we have, just like you, we have the Erie Lake. So I go to the lake and I walk along the lake. So it's just, all about introducing this energy that is missing into your life. And there is also a way to deal with the energy if it's overexpressed in your chart. So that's what I'll be talking about all these energies, what they mean, and how to deal with them.
Excellent. Great. Okay. And now if people want to consult you for
Yes.
coaching, for a reading, for any of the wonderful buffet that you offer, how do they do that?
They should go to olgarozzell.com/astrology, or even olgarozzell.com will give you the ability to contact me. And I offer a variety of services. They're all on my website. I also offer calendars that tell you what to do every day of the year, what not to do in terms of medical procedures, diet, exercise, and other things. Cutting your hair and not cutting your hair. Things like that as well. Yeah, and I also have developed a store with a variety of clothes that have astrological designs because I just couldn't find anything that I would wear myself. So I developed it first for myself and for my family, and I'm offering that too on my website.
Great. And this is what we're seeing on your background right
That's
now.
exactly what you are seeing on my background.
I'm going to
Yes.
get one or two. I'm going to
Okay.
get one
Okay,
and I
great.
will share it.
Okay, that's
Way
great.
awesome. Is there anything else you would like to share with us before we wrap up for today?
Uh, well, I'm just very excited to participate. I'm very excited to promote astrology always. I'm on the board of the local astrological association. We'll be having a table at your wonderful event. So just stop at our table, learn about astrology. We'll be giving mini readings as well. So just stop by and talk to us and hopefully learn about astrology.
Excellent. Oh, this has been so much fun. Yay. Oh, thank you so much, Olga.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, well, we will be
Okay.
seeing you in August, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Suzy.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. Wasn't it wonderful? So you can see Olga's website in the description box. And we will see you on the next episode of The Woo Factor. This has been such a wonderful time. Grounded conversations for cosmic thinkers. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.